Alright, here's the screencast for doing the gizmo on the student exploration of measuring volume. So again, the vocabulary and the prior knowledge parts before we start the gizmo, you should have that done. So when we go to the gizmo warm-up, when scientists talk about how big something is, they're talking about its volume. So it asks you to remove the 50 milliliter graduated cylinder from the cabinet. Okay. And place it below the faucet. So we gotta get this one away. Put this below the faucet. Turn on the faucet and try and fill it up about halfway. Okay. And then it says to place the magnifier over top of the water line. And when we do that, you want to sketch what you see. Alright, so now as you go through and read through the rest of this, you should be at the bottom of the first page of your exploration. Now we can go on to activity A. Activity A, we want to have all our objects back into the cabinet. Now it says move the 25 milliliter graduated cylinder, the 250 milliliter beaker, and the 2 milliliter pipette out onto the counter. Okay. So most graduated cylinders are marked in milliliters. There are 1,000 milliliters in a liter. It says to fill the graduated cylinder with a given amount of water. So we'll start with our 250 milliliter beaker here. It says fill it with water. Move the faucet handle up to pour faster. And we're going to use this as a source of water for our experiments. There we go. Now to pour water from the beaker to the graduated cylinder, move the beaker over the graduated cylinder and add about 15 milliliters of water to the graduated cylinder. Right about there. Now, we have that, and then we're going to put our magnifier over the water line. Okay? Now, once you're going to go ahead and sketch this, and you're going to see how many medium tick marks, and you want to see how much volume each one does. Alright, the other thing that we do here is we use pipettes, which are known as eyedroppers, to add or remove small amounts of water. To fill the pipette, place its tip in the beaker, and we're going to click the black bulb once. So we're going to put this in the beaker, click the black bulb once. Now, we're going to, again, we're going to be right here. Now, to release a small amount of water, we're going to place the pipette above the graduated cylinder. And we're going to click the bulb. We want to get 17.5. If I click this, you'll see how this moves through, but it's not moving that quickly. We want 17.5 milliliters of water. because I'm empty. There we go. Come on. Go. Almost. There we go. All right, so now we have done this. You can take the screenshot, which shows that you were able to do this. So going on then is practicing filling up the other 3 times. So think and discuss. You should be able to answer that, and you should do further practice. You can do those if you would like. All right, so let's go to activity B. All right, we want to calculate and measure the volume of a rectangular prism. Okay, so we're going to go to the free exploration. We want all of our cabinets to items back to the cabinet. And we are going to get the prism and the ruler. Now, as you go through, it actually tells you what the length, width, and height of this block are. So, as you go through this, you should be able to figure out the cubic centimeters in the block. And then you should be able to figure out the volume if you use a calculator. Continuing on, we want to move the block back to the cabinet. And this time we want the big sphere. So when we bring the big sphere here, now, if I put the ruler over top of the sphere, again we get length, width, height, but we have to put it into the other formula. Okay? All right, we can return the large sphere. And it asks us to find the volume of the marble. That was our last one here. So I put the ruler over top of that. There are our values for the marble. Okay. Now, there's another way of doing this. So if I return all the items, so if we're going on to activity C, if we return all the objects to the cabinet, and I want the large sphere, I want an overflow cup. It's called an overflow cup because it has a spigot here so it won't overflow. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to actually take this overflow cup and we are going to put it underneath the faucet, and we're going to fill it up until the water starts coming out of the spout. Alright, now we're going to place the beaker right under the spout so that the overflow cup can go into the beaker. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take the sphere and we're going to put it into the overflow cup, causing the water to pour into the beaker. Now, we can take the beaker and we can pour it into our graduated cylinder. And we can put the magnifier over the water line. So now you know how big the sphere is. So our next piece here, I'm going to put this back. We're going to refill this. I'm going to empty these into the sink. Put this back. Now we want to find the volume of the rock. it in. And we have a volume. Alright, so you can use this displacement method in order to find out things that you don't know how big, or they don't have a nice neat cube or a nice neat formula that we can find our volume. Okay, so as we go through, we did that for the last practice was the marble. Okay, now on the marble, we really don't want to use the 50 milliliter beaker. Bad idea, it's too big. So instead we are going to use the 25 milliliter. So I put the marble into the overflow and I pour that in. Look at how little volume is there. Alright, so now you've done this, we've got the marble, the rock, the sphere, and as you went through, we should have this all done. Alright, so you now have your student exploration done. So the last piece is the quick quiz. And as I go down here, gotta slide that over a little bit more. Alright, remember you can always pause the video in order to have a little bit more time to answer the questions here. Alright, so starting off we have question number 1. You want to write the answer to that question. Pause the video. Now you can have question number 2. Pause the video to write the answer to that. Question number 3. Here is question number 4. I want you to read the question now. And then as you read the question, you should have had time to read the question, and now here are our answer choices. I'm going to go back up here. So what the question was, and our answer choices. All right, and then finally, question number 5. That is it.